Hey everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
I'm Mike.
That's technically true. I mean, that's not a lie. You are.
I thought your name was Vandarian Hammertongue. Come on.
I panicked. Listen, my name is Steve. I don't know why I said Mike. I'm just kidding.
My buddy Vander's back. Which means we're talking about some hot D. It's hot D once again, everybody, and boy, hot D. Let's talk about some hot tea in this episode, getting spilled everywhere. Episode 9, the penultimate episode of the first season of House of the Dragon, dropped on HBO and HBO Max last night and this morning. And ooh, doggy, not a lot of action, but a lot of things happened. There was some eyeball deaths. There was dragon. There was just all around political fuckery, just everywhere as far as the eye can see. And we had a dragon used as a middle finger, like a dragon was used, like lifted her middle finger and it turned into a dragon and killed a lot of people and wrecked the building. And it was awesome. Sol, what do you think of this episode?
So this episode is called The Green Council, and everyone's been talking about, oh, this is the Greens episode, and some people are upset about that because they're very Team Black. Now, this is Rhaenys Targaryen, Valarian, motherfucker, badass grandma's episode. This is her episode. I loved it, and she was amazing, and I'm here for grandma energy.
Vander, let me hear it, man.
I second what Saul said. It was a great performance by Rhaenys. The fierce dialogue, the look in her eyes, the face acting, it was absolutely impeccable. She did a wonderful job, as she has been doing all year. Eve Best was the best person for this role. I love the episode in the aspect that even though I'm tried and true Team Black, they're giving us an episode dedicated to what Alicent is trying to do. She's even fighting against what her father is trying to do. She loves her dad, but she knows that what he is attempting to execute is just not what she wants whatsoever. I'm glad that we got to see that. I'm glad that they're not portraying her as the clear-cut enemy. They're making sure that people that are Team Green get the chance to continue to love being Team Green, and also everybody that's Team Black, they're trying to suck us in and maybe betray our side, because from what Alicent is saying, she believes that she's doing the right thing, and it makes you wonder, like, is she really a bad person? Is she really this conniving towards Rhaenyra? So it's good. It's another concept of gray characters. Nobody is all the way evil or all the way good. Everybody's a little sprinkle of both. It's an incredible concept to have.
It's this episode belongs to two people, and that is Eve Best and Olivia Cook. I just, good God. Don't get me wrong, Risa Fons was great, and Krista Cole's a bitch, but this was their episode. This was Alicent and Rhaenys' episode. And what was so kind of off what you were saying is Alicent is stuck right in the middle. Like, she wasn't trying to start anything or get anybody riled up. It was like, okay, my husband told me 4 hours ago in a fever dream that he wants Aegon to be king. I was going to sleep on it and come to you in the morning after I'd had breakfast and say, what should we do about this? She was mentioning it in passing in a moment of trying to mourn and make sense of what was going on in her life all of a sudden. And her dad's like, oh, really? Oh, cool. I already have 15 plans for how I want to handle all of this. And it was that moment in the council meeting where she says, you've been planning for this the whole time? And in that moment, she has this light switch of like, oh, I done fucked up. I shouldn't have said anything. And good.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter what she said, what she said or what she thinks Viserys wants. They were going to do it anyways.
Yeah. And I think in that moment, she feels like she gave them fuel for the fire. Like they were already going to do it, but now I've told them that the king said this. Now they have just one more thing they're going to use. And now it gets to the point where it feels like she's just kind of going with the flow, that at that point is like, okay, this is the direction the snowball is rolling down the hill. I'm just gonna go with it and see if I can just make this as painless as possible, and just try to make everyone kind of on board so that there's no bloodshed, because her husband's name was Viserys the Peaceful. She's not trying to start a war in his name.
Yeah.
Because
can't be helped though. War is coming.
Helped.
And I think too, Otto, like the reason he kept his daughter out is because even though he said like a few episodes ago, you're willing to play this game, he was like, she's not going to be cool with us killing Rhaenyra and her family. So I'm going to keep her out of this. So the fact that she did say that, I was like, oh, this makes my job easier, what I was going to do anyways. Because I don't think he or anyone else in that council actually believes her, but they're like, oh, if that's what she thinks, then sure, yeah.
Yeah.
They were going to do it anyway. She just gave them a backbone.
Yeah. They gave them some footing to stand on. And we spend the whole episode with we don't visit Rhaenyra and Daemon at all, which has me thinking next week is
I miss Daddy.
You missed it's gonna be next week's gonna be real interesting, especially from what we see. We don't see a lot in the tease for next week's episode. They play it pretty close to the chest, which is good because it is the finale. But let's talk a little bit about this council meeting, because everyone's feelings are all over the place, because there are some who were in on the plan, some who were not, but are like, okay, cool. And then there's somebody who is not on board, who doesn't have long to say he's not on board. Vander, what'd you think of this whole meeting sequence?
Or went out.
For my man, the elderly Lord Beesbury.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I'm drinking out of my Dragon's cup today.
Nice.
Dragons, but they're green, so it's look, it's just the way it is, kids. No, yeah, go ahead, Vander.
So yeah, it's something that I saw coming. There were 3 different accounts in the book Fire and Blood about what may have happened to Lord Beesbury. One person said he was imprisoned. One person said that Kristen Cole slit his throat, and I forget maybe there was only 2. But anyways,
the other one was going out the window, like being pushed out the window.
Oh yeah. But either way, we know that he was gonna die. I thought it was gonna be Kristen Cole slitting his throat. Turns out they almost made it look like an accident. He shoved him into the seat and his head just splattered. And
he said sit down too. So
yeah. So that was an interesting thing. I thought he was just gonna flat out.
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. It's gone.
But yeah, this is a guy who's been loyal to King Viserys, and even the old King Jaehaerys before Viserys. He's been on this council as Master of Coin for an incredibly long time. Not the whole time as Master of Coin, but he's been a part of this council for decades. He's 80 years old. He's probably served on the council for 50 years at least. So he's loyal to
kings.
Yeah. He was loyal to what Viserys wanted. And he's an honest man. He wasn't going to sit by and just go with the flow as everybody executes their treason towards what Viserys wanted. So, yeah, it was sad to see him go. He was really a non-factor as a character. Like, he didn't have much to say. He was kind of the old guy on the council that nobody ever really listened to. He could never hear what was going on, so he would just be rambling like an old grandpa. But yeah, he was the only one on that council who was Team Rhaenyra.
And he was old enough to also take the knee for Rhaenyra being called heir, where you see like the Lannister was just like, I was too young to
he was 4 years old when it happened.
Yeah. So you have these people that are like, I didn't make that oath, so I'm not an oath breaker. And you have these people that did make that oath that are like, I'm not going to break my oath.
Question. What's the guy's name who the guy with the black hair on the council? The kind of curly black hair. At first I wondered if he was Baratheon, but now I'm wondering, is he Iron Rod?
I have no idea. I wouldn't even know what
I'm saying the Maester's in the middle. Is it the one that's next to the Maester, on the right side?
Yeah, the one he's a little feisty.
Wearing white.
What's that?
Was he wearing white? Is that who you're talking about?
No, I think he was wearing a dark color.
I don't remember.
Now I gotta go back and look at.
I know, right? Well,
Like the most important part was like, okay, you got the maester there, and then you got
Yeah.
the Beesbury, pour one out.
to kind of your guys' point about like the ages of everybody, they even make a point of saying like, yeah, like, oh, everybody bent the knee, and they're like, yeah, most people who bent the knee are dead. Like they're
Yeah.
not around anymore. So
Yeah.
that's why the couple who refuse are the ones who have been there for a minute. Except the one guy who's smart, who's like, I'm just gonna do this for now, and then I'm gonna figure out my next step later. Unfortunately, he tried to leave too soon.
Jasper
Nice form.
Wilde.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but that's his name,
You're good.
Jasper Wilde.
And it's also an interesting point because I like what he what and we just said his name, the guy who gets jokered.
Beesbury.
Beesbury, yeah. He says, he's like, I've known the king since he was a boy. He would not just change his mind like that. Like that's when he commits to something, he commits to it. This doesn't make sense. And there's a moment where you see Allison when he's talking where even she's kind of like,
he's got a point.
Yeah. Throughout this whole episode, there's a lot of times where someone says something to that effect, and you can see it on her face. She's starting to realize, I might have been wrong.
I think deep down she knew. She heard what she wanted to hear and went with it. But deep down she knows that that's not, she took it out of context, and it is not what King Viserys meant.
Which is really interesting when later, like, she has the conversation with Rhaenys and was just like, God loved my husband, like, but you should have been queen. You have the temperament for it. And then in that moment is trying to ask her to usurp Rhaenyra when she knows that her son should not be king. Her son does not have the temperament to be king.
Yeah.
Especially, too, because she says, look, Viserys would have been just happy as a lord,
being a fat lord,
fishing and building his model. He would have been, and reading his books, he would have been fine. Yeah. And they have another one of those similar moments too with Aegon, her son, later in the carriage, where he's like, he's had my whole life to change his mind and tell me himself. And I'm supposed to believe that just
even Aegon knew it. Even dipshit Aegon knew that there's no way.
Is dumb.
Yo, and this motherfucker has bastards too. So like, it's just like, oh, why can't Rhaenyra have bastards?
Apparently, he's the new Robert Baratheon. He's just got bastards in every corner of Westeros now.
And he's letting that, like, his bastard fight too. There was someone saying, you know, he's just a good soccer mom. He'd probably bring in some like juice and some like orange slices to his soccer match there in the lower corners of King's Landing. Like, he's just so supportive. That's why he's there.
But we get this moment to kind of wrap up things with the council where, you know, they're like, okay, well, let's have the body removed. And Otto's like, no one, not even the dead, go anywhere until we're done. And he orders the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard to go travel to the Dragonstone.
Yep.
And he's just like, nope, I'm out. I answer to the king. No one hears the king. Come find me when there's a king. But they don't. They're like, fine, we'll just replace you with the guy who will do what we want.
It was the old Barristan sell me moment.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Question for you, because he's dead in the books by now. Yeah. Like by natural causes, I believe was.
Yeah,
so,
he was just old.
Yeah,
he was old in the first episode of the season. You mean to tell me 20 years later he's still able? But I love the character.
Yeah.
Kristen has
where do you think? Do you think because we have people that in the books are supposed to be dead but are not currently still alive? Do you think that they're gonna play anything in the future, or do you think that's just like, oh, that was his last moment, goodbye?
So I believe that Lord Commander Westerling is going to, in the show, fulfill what was fulfilled by, I believe his name was Gerald Darklyn. He was just a member of the Kingsguard who fled. He's actually the one where one of the twins was getting Rhaenys out of King's Landing. Gerald Darklyn, I believe his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was actually the one in the book to get Rhaenys out of there. The dragon wasn't even involved. They just got over there because their dragon was technically, or she was already back at Dragonstone or something. But it was.
I think her dragon was at Dragonstone, but she was in King's Landing.
She had to get fleed out. So they had one of the twins fulfill his role in that aspect, and I think Westerling is going to fulfill his role as the Kingsguard who leaves King's Landing because he supports Rhaenyra's claim versus Aegon.
I can see that. Because
This
we've
makes
seen
sense.
that.
It's one less person they have to cast. You know, we saw it a lot with Game of Thrones where one character in the show would fulfill the roles of several, 2 to 3 from the book.
Yeah. And so we get the power moves with Alicent and Rhaenys. You should have been queen. We all know that. And then what Rhaenys says to her about not, and I don't even talk about the whole like, do you see yourself sitting on the Iron Throne thing, where she says like, you're just looking to make a window in your prison at this point.
She called her out on the bullshit, man.
Yeah. Like you're just trying to make some sense of your own life.
You were pawned by your father, your husband, and now your son.
Yeah.
In their game.
She's basically just telling her, grow a pair, grow spine, grow a spine, and do something about this. Like stop. Don't be your husband and try to find the easy solution. Like make some hard choices.
Yeah.
And I think when we get to the coronation ceremony, I think Rhaenys realizes in that moment, now she's never going to make the hard choice. She's going to roll with the punches. Time for me to step up and do something about this.
Yeah.
But she was kind of badass too, in the sense of saying like, ring the bell when you have an answer. And I was like, that was a badass line to say, like, even though I'm not on her side at all, Team Black forever, but I was just like, okay, Alicent. But then Rhaenys had a perfect answer. It's like, I don't need a bell, I got a dragon.
Melee's Dragon of the Week. It was the only dragon we saw, but still, Dragon of the Week.
But also I put this in my Twitter picture, but like, tell me that's not the dragon from Shrek. I mean, I'm so big. A big
did you see the Shrek did it first memes?
I did. That's why I put it in because every week I like to do my like no context spoilers for this episode, and I put that as one of the 4 pictures in there, along with the Joker and some other stuff we'll get to in a second. Well, actually, I think we're just about there. So let's get to the Quentin Tarantino part of this episode. Or the Dan Schneider part of this episode if we want to get really dark with it.
I can't with that, because that's not the first time. And shout out to Alicent.
They have an arrangement.
Yeah. Shout out to Alicent for being the first person to sell her feet pics. Like, make that money, girl.
I said on Twitter, OnlyFans was started in Westeros.
But that was so gross. And like, there's freaking incest in this show, and that was the moment where I was like, too far.
I'm totally cool with uncles banging their nieces, but dudes getting off the feet, nah. Not here for it. Not here.
I don't want to kink shame or anything, but just like, I love to. There's so much just like, he killed his entire family for some feet.
He is the club foot, and he lusts over feet. Shout out to just a good, honest transaction, though. Show me them feet, you'll get all of my secrets. I got you.
You know what this is? We're not gonna hide it. This is what it is.
Money's not even a concept.
And then it kept going.
Goods and services.
Yeah, and she looks away too. And I think too, what part of it is Alicent, the poor thing. We joke off screen, like, never has had an orgasm in her life. Poor thing. But she looks away, and just the depravity of like the men around her and how gross they are. Kind of like, her son is gross, like, because he raped someone last episode. Like,
probably
her father, probably several people. Her father's gross, like, you look like your mother. That's probably not the first time she hears that. Again, too, like, telling her like, wear your mother's dress when trying to get her to like seduce Viserys. Like, she loves her husband, but like, her husband also maritally raped her as well. So like, she has just all these gross men around her. Like, she's just looking away because she's just like, I'm gonna just allow these gross men to just be gross, and if I don't look at it, it's not happening. Here's my feet. I'm gonna look this way.
Shout out to Clubfoot for at least respecting her boundaries.
Yeah, like, you can look away, it's fine. I've seen all I need to see. But also,
and keeping it covered too. Like, he put it like, at least. Still,
And so
not
it
great.
kind of brings
Trying
back
so
that
hard to find a silver lining in all this.
more like. Wait, never mind. I thought I had a
Men,
joke there, and then I
don't
fucked
do
it.
that though. Like I'm just like any guy out there who's just like
This is-
that seems like a cool way
This is-
to do things. Don't.
This is not a green light, fellas. This is not a green light. This is no, okay. No, look around me. Red light. Okay. Don't but it also, now that you mentioned that, like, it also reminds me of, it's been said in the show several times that Allison is known as being the most comely woman in the realm. She's known for being just the most beautiful woman in the realm. And yeah, but I'm sure this is not the first time she's had to deal with some lewd nonsense from some people.
Yeah.
The difference is, before this fucker came along, she was probably able to say off with his head because she was the Hand's
queen.
daughter and then the queen. Now it's like, I need this guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We
She's
saw in
doing
an
what
earlier
she feels she
episode.
needs to do.
Yeah. When we saw in an earlier episode, they were having dinners and stuff together. And I'm sure this was an evolution of that.
Yeah.
So
And she also like I know like people are going she didn't kill people, but she's kind of like saying, yeah, you go ahead, kill people. So like her hands are not clean either.
I'm pretty sure
No.
that building, they didn't really give any context of that building that was on fire. I am pretty sure that was the Clubfoot setting fire to the building where all the spies were kept.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was just like,
curious
I
about
don't think
that.
Maceris is dead, but that's her building because that's the building where Taylor, I believe is her name is,
Talia.
came up and like Talia, was there, and then like you saw that like it was her and not Damon meeting with Maceris.
Are you talking about where the white worm was?
Yeah. Her name is
no.
Mysaria. Remember at the beginning of the
Oh.
season, she was Damon's.
Oh,
paramour.
that's who that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was gone for so long in the show, I completely forgot what she looked like.
Yeah.
Okay. Because she was barely in the first couple episodes, and then we never saw her again. So okay. That puts it a bit more in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was her place that we saw last week.
Yeah. I think it's where all of her like little spiders were kept.
Okay. Because I wrote that, I remember I wrote that down in my notes of like, whose house is that?
Yeah.
Why do
It took me till after the episode to realize
Okay.
it, but when I thought about it, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They didn't really, it wasn't directly contextual because it was during the scene when Rhaenys was getting escorted out of the city, so they didn't really give us the specifics on it. But looking back, I believe it's
Just
because it was
remember
right
what
after.
this house looks like. Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
to the fan.
And honestly, when you think about the fact that Otto and his crew were probably going scorched earth on their loose ends,
Yeah.
considering the whole like, oh, I won't forget that you have all this information moment that happens, that was probably his way of saying like, all right, cool, that problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't forget.
Imagine like the one person that called off that day, like in the kitchen because they were sick. Like they're like, "Oh, thank God!" Like,
The ultimate Dante from Clerks. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Well, so past the grossness, we get to everybody tracking down Aegon. Nobody can find him, and we meet the white. We again meet the white worm and have this moment with her and Otto, and we've got the twins. We got the Erics. I love their both
Kingsguard members.
It's so good. It's so great. They go looking for him. We've also got Kristen and Aemond. We find out that Aegon has in the past taken Aemond to some brothels to,
wet the whistle.
Sure.
Hey, and then you've grown up.
Oh yeah. That moment, I was like, oh okay. And then she looks at me and says, "You've grown up," and I was like, oh.
Aemon's like, I'll catch up with you in a few, Kristen.
Let me pour some more tea for a second here. Yeah.
Love Aemon, by the way. Still, I fucking love Aemon. Such a
I
good
hate how
character.
much I like him. I really do, because he's such a piece of shit. But
And the thing too is people keep comparing him to Daemon, which like makes sense.
That's the point.
But there's one thing that's specifically different between the two brothers. And Daemon loved his older brother and was like, you should have made me hand, I would have protect you. Where Aemond doesn't give a shit about her older. He wants to be king. Like where
Given
Daemon,
his older brother is a piece of shit. Daemon at least could see that Viserys was a wholesome, kind person. I would probably hate my brother too if my brother was Aegon II Targaryen.
Exactly.
And especially after what Aemon's been through. I mean, Aegon with the pig thing.
Bullying him all the time.
Yeah, he's
calling him a twat.
And you could tell too in that episode that Aegon, like, he didn't care that his nephews had black or brown hair. Like, he was like, hey, come pull this prank with me. So you could see that he was closer to his nephews than he was to his brother.
Yeah. I also love that Aemond is just Damon with the D moved to the end.
Literally. And I think that was intentional on George R. R. Martin's behalf. They're both
and then you have Vaymond, you put a V in front of Aemond's name.
It's just, I'm running out of name ideas. It's a different name.
And don't get it twisted, we have an Aemon without the D eventually. A couple of them, I believe.
We've got
Aemon from the wall.
And then last episode we had Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, and Rhaena all together in the same scene.
Oh, I keep forgetting about Rhaena. She's Helena's daughter, right?
No, Rhaena is
who knows?
Is Daemon's daughter.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Look, say what you will about House of the Dragon. At least all their names are different.
And then, like, because Helena's twins are like Jaehaerys and
Jaehaera,
like,
yeah.
Jaehaera,
twins.
yeah.
A boy and a girl twins.
Jaehaerys and Jaehaera.
And then she has another one that's a son too, right?
Yeah. It's not Maegor, or is it Maegor?
No, it might be Maekar with a K.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever gonna name their kid Maegor, not after Maegor the Cruel.
Yeah. But I think it starts with an M.
Yeah.
And then the Lannisters have Jason. God bless the Lannisters. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say in my life. But yeah, we get this great chase sequence, fight sequence with Kristen and Eric. And we see Aemond and Aegon just fighting, and Aemond telling him, like, look, you don't have a choice. Like, shut up and just go do the job, man. Because I would kill for this job, but I can't. So go do the job. And Aegon's like, put me on a ship and I will disappear. I don't want to do this.
He wanted to take the Laenor route.
He was so duty bound. Like Aemon knew that this is what he has to do. He has to bring Aegon back. He thought about it. I guarantee it, though. He thought about saying, all right, I'll let you get on the ship. I'll take this throne. He's more fit for the role, quite frankly.
I think he's counting on I think he's counting on the idea. And again, I don't know what happens. You know, you guys do, but I think he's counting on the idea of Aegon getting himself killed, and then he'll just take over.
And this chase sequence, like, this is not in the books. Like, basically, they find him in bed with someone. That's where they like.
Oh no, it's in the little fighting rink where the kids are getting their teeth filed. They find him there, getting some nookie from a maidservant.
Who I think is like significantly younger too.
Yes.
I think I wrote that.
Not only is he a rapist, he's also a chomo in the books.
Yeah. That's where I thought that. Well, because they allude to as much with the lady in charge of the brothel. She's like, he likes other things, and then they immediately cut to the Chuck E. Cheese if the ball pit was replaced with a Fight Club. And when you see the kid at first, I was like, oh, where are we going with this? They didn't go where I thought they were going, but.
And thinking about it too, like, the child has his hair color. Only the Targaryens have that hair color. So to have something, where it's like it's different. Like Robert Baratheon, it has brown hair, and like all his kids are supposed to have brown hair. That's why the Baratheon children are actually bastards, because they don't have brown hair. So like, but if you have brown hair in this series, that's fine. If you have the Targaryen hair, like, and that kid does, like, oh, that's a bastard of one of those people.
I think all those kids had that were fighting. I think he was just letting them put his bastards in a ring and let them fight. I'm sure he was. I mean, because he's
the
like
best soccer mom ever, like making sure they have activities.
Just let them fight it out. Let them fight it out. They'll wear themselves out, or they'll kill enough.
He has orange slices for them after the fight.
They can bite right into him with those filed up teeth.
Well, then we get this this moment with Alicent and Aegon in the carriage going up to the coronation. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the episode because he
The
has
dialogue they give for
Yeah.
Aegon is so interesting because they've confirmed to us that he is a sexual degenerate, a rapist, a drunkard, but like the dialogue they give him like makes you want to feel sorry for him. He really like
Yeah.
doesn't want this.
It's almost like they're not giving an excuse for, but explaining
Yeah.
why he's the way
How
he
he
is.
got there. Yeah.
Because his father just kind of and we don't see a lot of it, but the impression we get is that because Viserys had already named Rhaena, who is his golden child, as the heir, none of his other kids really mattered at that point. It was too little too late. Like, oh, cool, I have a son now, but I've already named an heir, and I'm not going to back down from my choice.
He even in episode 7 called Rhaenyra his only child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And he was getting sick too by the time of like where he would have memories as a kid of his father. Because if you look in like his second name day, like Viserys is so like, eat my son and like all this,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, good dad. But by the time that he would have memories of like, this is who my parents are, and like he was getting
Dad's a
sick.
goblin.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because like I said, like you said, it's we're finally getting to know they're giving some depth to this character who's just been kind of a degenerate for all this time, and she, the queen, kind of just verbally knocks him around, like, just get your shit together. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what I've been trying to get you on board with all this time. Don't act like I haven't been trying. You've had all this time. And he gives us another one of our aha moments of like, he could have named me anytime in my life.
Yeah.
Never did.
And then he asked her, "Do you love me?" And she all but said, "Fuck you. No, I don't."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She smiles and gives him that whole, you're an imbecile. And a lot of people might be like, oh, that's a mother saying you're stupid for thinking I don't love you. I'm like, no, she didn't say yes.
And think about it too with like from his perspective, like she said you're no son of mine, like just in like an episode ago. And like he's like, I've done everything you've asked, like what do you want of me? And like all this stuff. So like his father doesn't love him, his mother doesn't love him, like he's shitty to his wife, so his sister wife doesn't love him, like, and she's also like doing prophecies, so like who knows what she's up to, right? And like and you obviously like him and his brother, like they were tag teaming last episode, but you could tell there's not really love there. It's more
There's
out of
not
duty.
much of a relationship.
Yeah. So the first time he's experiencing love is by the people of King's Landing when they name him the king. And you see him soak up in that because that's the first time he's ever experienced love in his life.
Yeah. I was going to say, when they start cheering for him is when he's like, oh, I like this. Oh, I'm going to enjoy being king now. Once he realizes, just because with his father wasn't out there making waves, so he never really got to see kind of the love and respect people had for his father. He may have heard about it through word of mouth, but now he gets to see and feel it for real for the first time, and it's a lot of people. Yeah, that'll get anybody on board for just about anything, I think. And then before we have the scary moment happen, we have throughout all of this one of the Erics. I don't know which one. It doesn't really matter. It's
Eric is Eric with an E is Team Black. Eric, which they keep saying it like with their British accent, it sounds like they're just saying Eric for both of them. And I was just like, oh, Eric, or like I try to like emphasize the A whenever I read it.
I always read it as Arik and Eric.
Arik, yeah, Arik.
That works, yeah.
Yeah,
but
and
the way they say it is obviously I was gonna.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Eric. It was just like Eric, and then it was like, no, I'm Eric, and it's just like, didn't you just say that? Right. Whatever. Like
that's what I said.
That's why Otto was smart. He's like, just you and your brother. I'm not even
right.
Just the two of you.
But so Arik with an A is Team Green, and you see too, just so it's not just the rift of these Targaryen family, but also the rift between this other family, these two brothers who are twins, and you see too like seeing the child pits and knowing how shitty of a person Aegon II is, he's like, why the fuck do you want to do this? And then like Arik is more like, this is our duty. These is like we took an oath kind of thing. So both of them are morally right in their own minds, but it ends up going against each other.
One's in the one of them has the like the moral high ground from like a professional standpoint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the because it's all because like this is I'm a man of my word. I'm doing my duty, doing what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. The other one is got the moral high ground from a purely humanistic standpoint of like kids fighting each other. Like, how can we be okay with this? And that's why he decides to help Rhaenys get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. Two great characters, and obviously they're already setting it up, so I'm not spoiling anything by saying that that storyline is going to come into play at a later point. Brother versus brother. We
see in the preview for next week's episode, he tells Rhaenyra like long live the queen.
Yeah,
I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Then we get everyone's favorite moment in this episode, and I'm not being facetious. It is everyone's favorite moment in this episode, and that is when Rhaenys says, I'm out of here, and goes and gets her big red dragon and says, all of you can get fucked. I'm out.
If you don't chew big red, then fuck you.
I mean, the only way this scene could have been better is if she would have said Dracarys, but then we wouldn't have a show.
Right. She could have ended it all right here.
I told you in our group chat earlier, so I was like, honestly, I'm okay with that. Long live the queen. Like, show over, forget it. We're retconning the whole thing, and Rhaenys takes over the throne, and there's a million years of peace. Who cares? It's fine. I'm on board. More Eve best.
You should have given it to me 40 years ago, but I'll take it now.
Bitch.
Yes. It's so good. And I've been watching a lot of other reactors and stuff, watching the episode for the first time, and all of them, because you think the episode's about to end.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's going to end with him, because that's honestly that would be a good.
It felt like an ending.
Yeah.
You could just have it. She slipped out and just went out the back door, and is going to show. But they chose to make a statement in the last 30 seconds of this episode.
But don't forget about the blacks.
We're not done yet, bitches. Go ahead.
What kind of sucks is that a lot of people think the next episode is going to be all Team Black, but it's really not. Like there's. So I'm sure you know what's going to happen.
You saw those two dragons in the air in the preview for next episode. It's not going to be all black.
So it's going to be it's going to be the first big couple of events for the war itself. But
I think they're going, without major spoiling, I think they're going to do the eye for an eye following sentence.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the following sentence because then that would be spoiler. That's where I think it's ending.
Well, and we've said, George R.R. Martin has said that like this show is going to be 4 10-episode seasons. Like he finally laid out what the plan is for how they're going to tell this whole story. It's going to be 4 seasons of 10 episodes and a movie. No, I'm kidding. 6 seasons and a movie. I love that they have an endpoint in mind.
Yeah.
As opposed to Game of Thrones, where it was like, we're trying to get as many seasons as we can. Okay, we're running out of juice. This is going to be the last season. We're making it up as we go. This one's like, no. Here's the book. When we get to the end of that book, we're done.
Yeah.
And it's not even the end of the book when we get to the end of the story.
Yeah, we get to the end of the story.
Dance of the Dragons is only what, 4 chapters in the book, if that, 3 or 4 chapters?
Do you think that'll just be all of season 4? It's just the Dance of the Dragon season?
Well, no, the Dance of the Dragons starts.
Dance of the Dragons.
Oh, it's the whole thing?
Yeah, no, the whole show is based off of the war.
Yeah.
I thought the Dance of the Dragon was like a specific battle.
No.
Okay.
Technically, them killing Beesbury and making Aegon king is the very beginning of the Dance of the Dragons.
That was Lord Beesbury's blood was the first spill.
Right. Well, because they had said that all of season 1 was basically build up for the actual like this is all basically prequel stuff. This is the prequel to the prequel.
Yeah, I think we're getting the first semi-battle in the next episode.
What's the finale of a Game of Thrones show? I would
so excited.
Especially because this episode was all story,
Mhm.
all very interesting exposition, but all exposition nonetheless. I feel like yeah, if you're gonna do that, then your final episode, you're build. You don't, especially because you don't end with the dragon middle finger moment and not like pay that off in the finale.
Yeah.
Of the next episode.
Pure chaos, probably for the whole hour. in
Yeah.
next week's episode.
And part of it too is if they're ending where I think they're going to end, we are going to leave this season going both sides are shitty.
Yes.
I'm cool with that because they are. I mean,
Because
this is
there's going to be something that the Greens do to the Blacks that you're going to be like, fuck the Greens, and then the Blacks do in retaliation back to the Greens, and you're going to be like, fuck the Blacks. Like,
they messed up Allison's Wordle score.
the worst thing ever.
I told Mike the 2 words earlier.
And I've already forgotten, so it's fine.
Oh, perfect. See, that's the great thing about Mike is you can spoil stuff to him and he doesn't remember. So then, like, when he actually watches it, he's just like, "Oh, this is new."
For the record, it's not because I'm stupid. I have a lot of things going on in my, like, as Rosie walks across my desk. I have a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things in my system. There may or may not be cherry vodka in this. I don't know, but no, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of information, and you guys have had time to read the books and sit on it. And for me, it's all brand new. I was a C student in school, guys. Okay.
I had a 1.9 GPA. There's no excuse for you.
My mom's blonde, so I have blonde DNA in my system.
Okay, you got me there. You got me there.
It's a joke. I
used heroin for several years. I don't know.
Mike is a secret Targaryen.
Yes,
that's what it is. That's what we're going with.
He's a Targaryen bastard.
That's what we're going with.
He's always looked pretty strong, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, strong boy.
Strong boys.
I don't know what else I can say about this episode other than just it was very good.
I'll say this: I loved the scene with Rhaenys and her dragon because it made everybody happy. The book readers got a surprise because that did not happen in the book. In fact, the coronation of Aegon ends with him hopping on his dragon, Vermithor. I forget his dragon's name.
I think it's like Sunfire.
Sunfire, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, surprised we haven't seen him yet. Sunfire's notoriously like the most beautiful dragon as far as its colors go.
Yeah.
And that's why like the logo is golden now instead of red.
Yes.
Because we saw his dragon as
banners.
Oh yeah. We saw his dragon as an infant in like episode 5.
No, that was
Jason's dragon. That was Ty.
Oh, okay.
Max. Ty.
That's right. You're right.
Carmax? Was that the name?
Carmax? Burt's Bees? What?
Vaymax? Yeah, it's something Max.
Vaymax?
It's right. Ty something. Tyraxi or Jason's dragon.
Yeah, Jason's dragon.
Oh my god, it's making me so mad.
Hashtag Jason's dragon.
There was 4 kids and a dragon. That's all I remember. That's your next spin-off. It's 4 kids and a dragon.
And then in the previews for next episode 2, we see Daemon in front of a dragon, and I think that's Vermithor.
Vermithor's a badass dragon as well.
Yeah.
Who does he belong to? Or is he still one of the ones?
He is unclaimed at the moment.
Okay, cool.
Oh, he's a free agent. Cool. Maybe he'll get picked up by the Dayton Dragons. Hey.
Oh no, it is Vermax. You were right.
They had a crap season this year.
I thought Jace's dragon started with the T. I was wrong. Maybe Luke's dragon does.
I think Baymax is the correct. We just call him Baymax.
Fine with that. Are you satisfied with your burning
fire? But he says it in High Valyrian.
With your city sieging. Yeah. What a good episode. This is the kind of political stuff the Star Wars prequels wish they had done. So it was very good stuff. I enjoyed this a lot.
George R. R. Martin is the greatest fantasy writer of all time. You will never change my mind.
And
I'm
the
with
best
you on that one.
And the thing too with him is he was also a TV writer before he wrote these books.
Yeah.
So he knows what it's like to adapt things, and that like it's two different mediums where you get people who are great authors of books, but they're very much like, oh no, you need to do it exactly like I did it in the books.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, you can change things up to make it better. And there's even times too where he's like, oh, your depiction of my character that I wrote, like I like what you did more than what I did with this character. And he's very much like willing to work with people and have people change his characters, but he also like is like, no, this is where they are. Like, so he's very like willing to work with people, and like some other authors.
He's open to change as long as it benefits the story, which I think is the mark of any good creator. Change. There's nothing wrong with change from a medium to a medium as long as it benefits the story.
And so far, most of the changes we've seen that was different from the books, it's enhanced the story and made it not only better for TV, but just an overall more compelling.
Yeah,
you can't play things out on screen exactly how they happen in a book, because it would be so boring.
And if they did that, the Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, it would just seem like anime if they played it out exactly the way it was written in the book. So,
well, that's
no one would have any personality in all dragon fights.
Yeah.
No, if we did that with Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers would be an hour and a half of Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli describing the philosophical consequences of the different verses of a song. It's an actual chapter in the book. It was hard to get through. Love the book, hard to get through. So yeah, I don't know what else more we can say. We've talked about this at length, and next week, oh doggy, expect a long episode next week, guys. We're gonna have a lot to talk about, and hopefully Bogz will be able to join us for that one as well. Work is just, real life is not being kind to Bogz right now. The poor guy has been working his tail off, but he's been watching along and sharing his thoughts with us in our group chat. He's still very much enjoying the show. He's bummed his buddy Patty Constantine's not back, that he's done for the season, but it's been great. And
quick thing though too, with his character, they were much more respectful to him in the show than they were in the book, because in the book they just left him in the room.
They let him explode pretty much.
They let him bloat and like rats eat off of his flesh. So they were much nicer to him in the show.
In the book, Allison didn't give a shit about Viserys one bit. It was her duty. She lets her dad use her as a pawn in the book. She just does whatever he wants her to do, literally in her whole life. But in the show, at least, we're seeing that she is a human being. She has needs and desires, and when they aren't met, she voices it. So
yeah. So let us know what you guys thought down in the comments, and are you excited for the finale as much as we are? And just how off base am I with some of my predictions? Because they're not going to tell me. They don't want to spoil it for me. So be sure to let me know. We love it. It helps our algorithm. So please debate in the comments. It's fine. We don't care. But let us know what you guys thought, and we'll see you guys again here next time on Off the Wall. Bye.